Alright, say something again.
Alright,
Hello.
hello.
Alright, hey, there we go. Everything's going. Take 2. We're good.
Alright, do we have to sync up again?
No. We'll just use the audio that we are already using, unless you stop recording.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't
Steve will
stop
just have a great
recording.
time going through about 3 minutes of nothingness.
I used to do my own recordings. There's a lot of me just being like, alright, and I'll just stop there, then I go, like, have a glass of water, come back, be like, alright, let's keep going. So when I edit it, it's just like 5 minutes of silence. But it's good, because when you're editing stuff, that there's, like, a clear gap where you need to cut.
Yeah.
Right.
But welcome to episode 1 of our podcast. Do we ever
It's-
think of what we're calling this podcast?
I mean,
No.
super chill. Super chill. Super chill time.
I mean, for now, it could just be like Super Southern Boys podcast.
That's the Super Southern Boys podcast.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
It's not fancy, but
be.
it,
I mean,
works.
We're always wrong.
we
We.
What do you mean?
You.
would just call our podcast just wrong opinions.
I'm sure we wouldn't be the first.
No, probably not.
Unpopular opinions.
Unpopular opinions. Well, but no, this is episode 1 of our podcast, and I guess we should go around and talk about ourselves. Who wants to go
Ew.
first?
I vote up you.
Of course, not me.
Look, you're leading this gang of weirdos, so...
Just because I know how to use a YouTube channel. But
Are you sure you want that for the intro? That's like a 5-minute intro, I'm just saying.
the podcast is going to be like an hour or 2, so it doesn't matter how long it is.
Okay.
But I am Steve Stove. Either or works. I am the least Southern boy, technically. Because I'm not Southern.
So, Ruby and I had a discussion about this. You are in the southern part of Canada.
Near Toronto isn't really...
Yeah, but when you were in Windsor, you were technically in like South Detroit.
Yeah. Just like the Journey song.
But like that's like the southernmost tip of Canada.
Yeah. Let's see if I look up a map of Toronto. Yeah, I was gonna say Toronto is 5 hours north of Windsor, so I'm more north than I was south before.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything. Well, south of Windsor is. I've never really been south of Windsor. Where's south of Windsor?
What is south of Windsor?
Kingsville. Oh, I guess like Leamington. Oh no, I've been to Point Pelee. Yeah. I think
Well,
that's.
I mean, because even like Charles isn't in the South now, but you were born in the southern part of Canada.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you want to count it.
So this whole podcast is just going to be doxing me. Is that how that's going to work?
It's all about hypotheticals. Technically, you are from the southern point of Canada.
When
Yeah, we didn't name names. You did.
I
Yeah.
True. I was the one that decided to come up with Super Southern Boys, and even our Discord chat is just Southern Boys.
I mean, it's kind of stuck with us for the past year or
Yeah.
so.
And it made it a lot easier to come up with a YouTube name.
Yeah.
This is the one that
went
we've
through
already been using.
several.
Yeah. But I guess in terms of like traits, I am the epic gamer of the group.
That's not cringe at all.
But
Okay.
is that fair to say though?
Yeah, MLG pro of
yeah.
the team.
I am the gamer of the group. I do a lot of gaming. That is my personality.
That is him summed up in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, you'll learn more as you watch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. By the way,
Ew.
you gotta
to
sneak
plug
one in
it.
there. Episode 1.
Way to plug
No, ew.
This is subtle plug. All right. Well, that's me. What about you two?
Well,
Who the hell are you guys?
I'll take the next turnabout here because I threw you under the bus early on.
I'm used to it.
So I am Charles or Charlie. You can call me whatever. I am kind of bland and boring. There's nothing to my personal. I am not a gamer, and I'm not funny.
And you made Ruby laugh.
Lies.
But I make myself laugh with dumb
Just
shit.
say.
As they said, we are the Super Southern Boys, and in true fashion, I'm born and raised in Texas for the most part. I'm living up north now.
The only one that checks all three
Because
boxes.
out of all three of us, you're the only Southern boy.
I mean,
I'm.
do we?
I'm
count-
half. Ruby's half. You're the whole.
That's fair. I make up the sandwich.
Damn.
I'm the beef on this burger. But yeah, there's not much to say about it other than I do also game. I'm big on it, though Steve here could probably kick my absolute ass at just about anything other than Mustache.
I mean, we're both good at that. I'd say more so games I haven't played. You're better at than me, but that's.
You've been playing for about
When I say it out loud, it's kind of a backhanded compliment. Like, oh, games I've never played before, you're better than me.
Yeah, well, thanks. I like that.
As soon as I play it, I'm like, oh no, I'm better.
Yeah. The MLG player, I tell you, folks,
I was gonna
he's
say,
cocky about it.
Never played a Dark Souls Bloodborne game. I'm gonna pick up Elden Ring and be like, why does everyone say it's so hard? It's so super easy.
Oh, dude.
He did that with Hollow Knight. It's like, oh my god, I'm struggling. He's like, why are you struggling? I'm like 3/4 of the way through the game.
Yeah,
It's only been 4
so-
hours.
I'm gonna be fair. I never really thought Hollow Knight was that hard either.
Neither did I.
And to be fair, when I played Dark Souls 3, I didn't think it was hard at all. I had such a blast playing it.
No,
Listen, I played Elden Ring and managed to kill things without being able to see the enemies, so I
I was
don't
gonna
want
say
to
then
hear.
your computer freaking caught on fire.
Look, once you get that graphics card, I'm telling you, it's gonna be so good, and I will help you out.
Once we can start monetizing our videos, that'll be our first purchase.
I don't know if you want that in the video, but okay.
Like and comment and subscribe so Ruby can play Elden Ring.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna swing this on to Ruby now.
I was gonna say last
Of
up.
course you are.
It's
And
the
we've
been
last
calling her
number
Ruby,
of
so-
the
Yeah, I was going to
DK.
say, like, my name is not a surprise.
I mean, you can go for a nickname. I usually am called Stove, so.
Well, my name is Ruby. Most people call me Rue or Ruby Rue. I am the least gamer out of the three of us. I am Southern, but not a boy that I know of.
I would hope not.
More so on the crafting and drawing side, and probably the most sarcastic out of the three of us.
I've been known to get sarcastic about shit, just not to my friends.
Charles is very sassy.
I do get sassy.
Charles is sassy, but I'm sarcastic.
That's fair.
I'll get lippy with you. Don't worry about
Charles is forever smug.
it.
Stuck in that face.
I'll never live that picture down, and honestly, it's my favorite.
It's the eye design, really, that makes it look that way.
Yeah, truly. Well, I don't know, that smile, though.
A little smirk.
Ruby's the not an official channel artist.
Yeah, she is. And mind you, she's going to deny it, but she is really good at art. I really love her art.
Oh yeah.
Ah, bullshit.
I was gonna say I've loved your art since I've met you, and you've only gotten better.
Ain't that
I have
true?
a broken hand. I don't know about that.
Well, that's not it's not an art related incident. It just makes it hard to draw now.
What? Broke your hand sculpting?
No, but it does hurt my hand sometimes.
I can imagine. Well, you have to apply a lot of pressure to that clay to mold it.
Mm. Eventually, one day, I'll teach these guys how to do it.
I mean, I've sculpted with you before. It didn't turn out well.
I've
I knew what
sculpted
it
in
was.
school.
Well, you knew what it was when I told you and showed you the concept sketch.
No, like even if you hadn't told me, I knew what it was. You just needed some support to like hold it together since you wanted it to stand up in such a precarious position.
Yeah, I was gonna say my dragon or wyvern, I guess, wyvern, was like half. It wasn't like yours, where it was just like a sleeping dragon on the ground. I was like,
It
mine's gonna
wasn't
be
sleeping.
stand. No, most of your like dragon sculptures are laying down though.
Yeah, but the one I did that day was a baby dragon hatching out of an egg. It was like rolled over on its back.
But
Oh, that's cute.
I was gonna say yours had support. Mine was just like it's gonna stand on two legs and have wings and have a big head. And immediately you're just looking at me like, no, that's not gonna happen.
And it's going to assert dominance over the other clay dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing he really needed to do was like some wire or
Yeah,
a toothpick
if I had,
to like add
like,
support.
Bones
Oh.
and better sculpting skills.
I mean, it was pretty much summed up in that you get the overall aspect of what you're looking at, so we can tell what you're making, and then I get down into the nitty gritty details.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Well,
Student.
unlike these two, I've the only time I've ever sculpted was in school, and it was absolute garbage. Nothing like a dragon, just a clay pot, and it looked like trash can.
I did a clay pot. Mine says don't trust the government, they kill people.
That's not
Look,
weird at all.
hey, but is she wrong?
I mean,
It was middle school, leave me
I was gonna
be.
say, why would you put that on a pot though?
I don't know, it was middle school.
That's the angst in her coming out.
No.
It was like it almost didn't fit in the. It almost didn't fit in the kiln because where everyone did like a kind of wide squat pot, I did like a really tall bitch.
So you did more like a vase?
Something like that. I mean, I still have it. We also did like a wolf mask thing.
She went to make a pot and made a cup instead.
It was actually a bowl.
No, I've never done like that kind of, I guess, pottery. Not.
Well, no, it's not pottery.
It's not pottery. It's very different. It's a very different process.
Well,
You pretty much made a base, and then you made long snakes of clay that you would coil around and then like smooth down.
Mm-hmm.
no, so it's not like the wet clay that you gotta constantly spin or whatever.
No.
Okay.
No.
It does also go in the kiln. I'm sure you could use it for pottery, but that wasn't the point of it.
Well, kiln is just fancy for oven.
Oh, a specific kind of oven, but yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to. It gets hotter than an oven. Let's say.
Well,
that.
isn't it like it's like an open flame as well, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never been inside of one.
I believe so.
True.
Like,
You are right.
No, I mean,
stick my
because
head in there.
No, like the school had a kiln, but we weren't allowed in the kiln room. Because again, it was middle school. Like we made the pot, and the teacher put it in the kiln. So like I've never actually seen one.
Oh yeah, you guys have middle school. I forgot. I keep thinking when you say middle school, it's high school.
yeah, no.
Yeah, Canada doesn't have middle school, so that's why I was just like.
Junior high.
So in middle school, for me, we actually did get to see our kiln. I don't think the ones they had at school had an open flame.
Yeah.
They were just airtight.
You have to remember, my school is the one in which there were girls already pregnant. One girl had a baby in the bathroom. Someone was smoking and lit the bathroom on fire. So we weren't really allowed to be around dangerous objects.
So going into high school, my class was known as the worst class in the district. and I don't know the logistics of it, but I do remember the year prior, one class made a teacher cry and quit the same
Yeah.
day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had two teachers like that. One was
Yeah.
obsessed with Elvis, and they made her quit. She was a math teacher.
Shit.
And then our history teacher, they had taken the screw out of her chair so that when she sat down, the chair fell apart, and she broke her arm.
No.
So
That's
she,
so fucked.
yeah, so she quit and moved to Ohio. And it wasn't my class that did it, at least as far as my group of, because in middle school it's supposed to prepare you for high school, but you had like group A, group B that stayed in the same class as it. You just kind of moved from one class to another rather than sitting in the same one all day. And I had went over and I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And she was just crying, and she left, and she never came back.
Rip.
But we're also the class that got the most scholarships in the past 100 years at that school.
I was
So
gonna say,
fuck.
why are you guys so mean as youngsters?
Oh man, there was just something like a lot of the kids in my class. I just remember being absolute dickheads for
Yeah.
no reason other than they could be.
same.
And at least when I was at high school, maybe, but like, well, I guess what you would. Well, what is middle school for you guys? Like grade 5 to 8, isn't it?
6 to 8.
Okay, so
6 to 8,
that's
yeah.
still elementary for me. But like, well, I guess like some kids would like fight and stuff, but that's like nothing really crazy happened until high school. And when I say
So
crazy in high school, nothing really happened there either.
yeah. Well, I mean, it would
also
literally
depends
be.
on-
Yeah.
It kind of depends on where you are, but like
Yeah.
I would get off the bus and just walk up to the quad, and immediately there would already be a fight that a teacher is trying to break apart. I'm like, "How are you so angry at 7:30 in the morning?"
For real. No, like so for me it wasn't necessarily middle school, but we had where I was living, we had something called a junior high, which is 7th and 8th grade before going into high school, and that was the only two classes in that school.
Mhm. They've split it up now that 6th grade has its own thing, and then they go 1st through 5th at the same. They go to 6th grade, which is a different school, and then they go to 7th, 8th at a different school, and then they go to high school.
So wait, there's a school that only does grade 6?
Yep.
That's dumb.
I didn't say it was
To
smart.
be fair,
just-
as the Canadian that doesn't have middle school as a thing, it's still kind of weird that there's just a school that only does 4 grades.
3.
Well, yeah, but like for me,
Yeah.
it's kindergarten, elementary, high school, college, university.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's dependent on the school district and the size of the school district, because you're splitting up between, like, so where I was growing up, where I went to high school, there were 2 high schools, 3 different junior highs, and those 3 junior highs had to split between the 2 high schools. So I think my graduating class was about 700 people.
I had a small graduating class of like 270, but there were about 4,000 to 5,000 people going to the school in general. So essentially, the idea is that 4K, or kindergarten for 4-year-olds up through 5th grade, you're still just a child from like 4 to 10. And then once you go to middle school, it's like 11 to 14. So you're like preteen. And then you go in your teenage years, and that's when you go up to high school. And it's separating those 3 groups because you don't want like a 16, 17-year-old with the 4 and 5-year-old.
I guess I kind of understand in terms of like.
And then you don't want the people going through puberty
mental
with like
and
a
attitudes and
5-year-old.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because as much as I say like, oh, it's weird, I remember like one of my brother's friends who was 4 years older than me. When I was in like grade 2 or 3, he was in like grade 7, and he would always just like pick on me, and I'm like, dude, you're like 6 foot. I am like 2 foot and scared of you. Please leave me alone.
Yeah.
And for him, he was
it's
always
kind of
just
a
like,
part
no,
of separating.
no, you're just like your brother's friend. Like you're one of the guys. I'm like, please leave me alone. You scare me.
I remember the first day I walked into kindergarten and seeing like all the fifth graders, and I'm like, they're huge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a thing of like perspective. Because when you see like first graders and then walking into like, for me it was eighth graders. For you guys like fifth or sixth grade, it's like, oh my god, those guys are like adults.
They're
Yeah.
giant.
Oh my god, like they're learning so much like crazy stuff, and they're so big, and they can drive cars and pay taxes. Oh my god.
I can't wait to be that big, and now
Yo,
it's
they
like, go
can
back, go back.
They can
Yeah,
stay up
take
past
me
their
back
bedtime.
to,
They can go to Toys R Us and get the big Lego set by themselves.
and they may or may not have to worry about choking on them.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's always the thing of like, you're always looking forward. Like when you're a kid, you want to be a big kid, and then it's like teenager to adult, and then
And
when,
then you're an adult.
when
and
you're
you're
adult,
like, no,
you're
go
just
back.
like, nah, yeah, wait, take me back. Go back. I want to be monkey.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the little kitchen set that was in the classroom, and we had like 3 hours of playtime.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called a midlife crisis.
I'm only 25. It's a quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis.
I mean,
It's real though. It's real because you kind of, and I had a talk with a friend about this pretty recently because he was having kind of this existential fear about what he missed out growing up and going through school. Because you just don't realize it until you've gotten older.
Oh yeah.
Like what the hell was I doing with myself?
Yeah. Like
Nothing.
For me, especially when I'm with like Ruby and like her friends or family, and they're just like, oh, we did like this as a kid and that as a kid, and we went on wild adventures and we did that and this other, and I'm like, I sat in my parents' basement for like 18 years and did nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, your parents are very
White.
overbearing and protective to where you weren't allowed to do the things that I was allowed to do.
Yeah. Well, also, I guess in terms of myself, like, there wasn't much to do. I was kind of living in like the suburbs, quote unquote.
Yeah, more city area.
And for me, like ever since I was like a child, like when I was 2 years old, my brother gave me his Game Boy, and I was like glued to playing Pokemon Blue.
Mhm.
So my entertainment wasn't like, oh, let's go like learn to go ride a bike or like go play with my friends in the park. It was just like, nah, I get all that enjoyment from just sitting on the couch and playing GameCube.
Listen, if you've never played like Mud Bomb, you're missing out.
I have never
I've
played Mud Bomb. I
never
don't even know what
played
that is.
No, because I grew up in a lot of the more city-ish areas, more suburbish areas sometimes, depending on where I was living.
I'm the
I moved
only
around a
true
lot.
Southerner.
Yeah, but you're not a boy,
Well,
so sorry.
With that being
Oh.
said, me and my nephews, we played a lot together because we were all around the same age. We would have a ton of fun. Like specifically at one house I lived in, we had a tree house, and then we got a trampoline that year. And the first thing we thought to do, let's jump off of the tree house onto the trampoline. Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, total fun. Great idea.
We had four-wheelers and go-karts at one point. And I would go over to my friend's house, and she had a big track in the backyard because they had a deer stand where people would go hunting because they had a big property.
Yeah.
And pretty much the four-wheelers, other than when we kids were goofing off on them, were just used to get, like, from point A to point B, rather than trying to get a truck or something back there.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be putting up flags to show you where to turn so you didn't go onto the neighbor's property. But at this point in time, for whatever reason, all they had up was fishing line. you can't
Oh.
see fishing line.
No,
Yeah, I was
not
yeah.
unless the
So-
light is hitting it just right, and even then it's iffy as all hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I knew where to turn because I'd done it enough times, but I hit it going too fast. So I was like, it's okay, I'll just blow the turn and like I'll pull a Yui, and slammed straight into the just fishing line that was hanging up, and it just caught the end of my nose and pretty much like rolled the skin and bone back and just grabbed the helmet and ripped it off my head.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right.
say going at that
Shit.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't even notice it. It was just so funny to me. And I just, got up, brushed myself off, put the helmet back on, and went on back to the house.
Didn't even
And of
question
course,
why you
like,
just got
there's-
clotheslined by nothing.
No, I questioned it, but like,
Like,
oh,
what was
right,
that?
they were
Oh, well,
hanging at the
never mind.
flags. So of course there's like blood dripping down my face, all over my shirt, and I get back to my friend's house and her parents are flipping out. I'm like, what? Well, what's wrong? Oh.
Oh, why do I only see red?
Well, no, it was my nose. It's below my eyes. So that's why I have like the bump at the top of my nose.
No, I think the worst injury I've ever gotten were me and my friend at the time. We were really young. I was probably 6 years old, maybe 7 at the time.
Mhm.
Outside riding our bikes, and we used to do this thing called donkey tail. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's where you ram your front bike tire into the back of their back bike tire.
That sounds
Oh,
like
you were being
a
stupid.
great idea.
We were being very stupid. But we did this every day. It was fun. We were the kids that threw Coke cans on the ground and ran over them with our tires just so we could hear it while we're riding.
Yeah, the.
Yes.
Mm.
But I had went in to hit his back tire. He took a sharp turn, and I had to hit my brakes because I was going to go into like a main road. And I hit my pedal brakes. At the time, I didn't know physics. I didn't know this was going to happen. I flipped the entire bike. I flew over the handlebars, face planted straight into pavement,
Ooh, yeah.
Mm.
and I was unconscious.
Jeez.
And by the sounds of it, it looked like I had been face stomped from what I've
Ouch.
heard. Because when I woke up, there was just blood and just skin peeled all across my face.
Especially
Almost got hit by a car.
I did get hit by a car.
I saw someone get hit
Great
by a car.
segue.
Well, I got sideswiped. I was 7 or 8, and where I live, there's in the little small town, there's a place where there's the bank, and then right next to it is a Subway. And my dad had taken my older brother to go make like his first quote unquote adult bank account because he was 13.
For a second,
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say, my dad took his brother to go get his first Subway sandwich.
No.
Son, you're a man now.
So while they were in there, I had to pee, and my younger brother was an infant at the time. So mom's like, "Well, I can see you. Just walk across to the Subway, use the bathroom, and come straight back." Sure, no problem. So I go over to the Subway, use the bathroom, and like on the way back, a car had run off of the road up onto the sidewalk and clipped my shoulder. And when it caught my shoulder, I was walking across like a manhole cover, and my foot stuck into it. So as it hit, all it did was like drag forward. So it threw me down, like twisting my ankle, and like I skid across the sidewalk. So my right leg, from about mid-thigh to the top of my foot, was skinned down to essentially like muscle and bone. You could see the bones below. And my left knee, my hands, and then because I had caught myself on my hands and my legs, like the side of my face was scraped, but not as severely. So of course I go back to the van, like sobbing. Mom actually didn't see it happen because she was taking care of the baby. And I get in the car and I'm crying. She turns around and I'm just a bloody mess.
Literally.
So I just remember my dad coming back out of the bank, opening the back door, and, damn, baby, what'd you do? The car hit me.
Damn.
And then I got free McDonald's because a McDonald's worker felt so bad when I walked in all covered in gauze.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, honestly, that's a good person right there. You don't find workers like that anymore.
Yeah, no. So, of course, like 3-4 hours later, after everything has been numbed with lidocaine, all of the grit and gravel has been like scrubbed out of it, and it's now like covered in particular dressings to promote like skin growth. And my uncle's stepchildren are playing in the pool, and I'm like, I want to go swimming. You can't go swimming. Why can't I go swimming?
That chlorine would kill you.
Yeah.
Why can't I go swimming? Excuse me.
I learned that at a pretty young age. Chlorine in open wound does not mix.
It's fine.
It stings for like the first hour.
It's
Then
fine.
it just goes numb.
Yeah. Then you're just like, yeah, no, now I don't feel anything.
No, clearly with the severity of the injuries, I wasn't allowed to go swimming for a good long while.
Yeah, well, it's understandable. With an open wound like that, in any like regard,
Yeah.
you just gotta be very careful with it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I got made fun of for it by the kids at school because we were running around playing outside, and I guess like sweat and probably dirt had got up under the bandage and it loosened it, so it fell down, and everyone was like, ew, that's gross. I'm like, I mean, what do you want me to do about it?
I was gonna say, what do you expect?
I got in trouble at school one time because I was on crutches. I had hyperextended my knee.
Ouch.
That's a whole other story in of itself, and it's really hard to explain without any imagery. But this kid was talking, like, just making absolute fun of me. I was maybe 9, 10. So as a joke, we got into the classroom, and as he was going to sit down, I pulled the seat out from under him, and I sat down next to him. As he fell, I burst into laughter. The teacher didn't find it so funny.
Yeah, of course not.
And I got sent to the principal's office. So, you know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. But it sure is funny as hell.
I mean, I shattered my kneecap in high school.
Oh, God.
We had these cement stairs that once you got off the bus, you would go across and you go up the stairs to the quad. Well, the stairs didn't have railings, and they didn't really clean them very often, so they were very, like, mossy, kind of slick and gross.
Yeah.
And it was raining. So I went to take a step up and kind of fell up the stairs, hitting my knee on it, and, like, tried to walk it off for, like, the first 3 classes. And I get to my 3rd class, just, like, tears falling, and my friend was like, no, we're not doing this. So she took the teacher's rolling desk chair, made me sit in it, and rolled me to the nurse's office. And she took, like, one look at my knee, like, purple and swollen and everything. She's like, yeah, I'm calling your parents.
Yeah, for very good reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I can walk it off.
I was
Rub some
gonna
dirt
say
in it.
most of the war stories that you've told me throughout the years, Ruby, it's very much, oh, you know, I just like lost an arm and then just walked home like nothing happened. Because your mom was telling me stories with your older brother too, of just like, oh, you know, like he was covered in scrapes and bruises and cuts and blood everywhere, and he's just like, I want to go to McDonald's. Like, no, you're going to the hospital. Oh, I don't want to go there.
I have a scar on my middle finger on my right hand because my brother, his friend, and I were outside playing, and he was goofing off with like this pipe he had found somewhere, and just like play sword fighting kind of thing. And I had dropped mine, and he swung it, nowhere near me, by the way. Like, this is entirely my, like, little 5-year-old self's fault. I thought he was going to hit me, so I, like, threw my hand out, and it, like, caught my finger and sliced it. To the point that, like, the skin on my finger was barely holding on. And he's, like, crying, running down to my mom, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. And I just kind of walk in, like, hey, Mom, my hand's bleeding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had I did something very similar when I stepped on a broken beer bottle in a ditch, and it, like, dug into my muscle and, like, scraped my bone. I remember lifting up my foot, pulling out glass, and being like, oh, it's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah.
So I hopped off to the, like, kitchen, back into the house, and my mom's sitting there, like, I think she was doing dishes at the time, and I was just like, hey, I think we need to doctor this.
Yeah.
And lifted up my foot, and she about fainted.
Yeah, similarly, you're not supposed to walk barefoot, da-da-da-da-da. I was a stubborn kid. I put a nail through my foot.
I did that with tennis shoes on.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like trying to walk back and just like, what do I do about like the board attached to the nail? Well, I just pulled the damn thing out and walked back with a big ass hole in my foot. And they're like, of course, you're not supposed to remove something if you have a puncture wound in that regard, because if it hit like an artery or anything, you're in danger. But like as a kid, just like yoink and go on in like, hey,
ow.
I hurt my foot.
Yeah. I looked down at the nail and I was like, I wonder if this goes through shoes. I learned how nails work. That's the part about being a kid, is that's how you learn. You just do stupid shit till you figure it out.
For me, it's just like in the back of my head, my audio from before of just like, no, I was inside most of my life, and then just hearing you guys like, oh, I got hit by a car, I stepped on nails, blood everywhere. I'm just like, maybe my life wasn't so bad after all. To be fair, though, Ruby can attest to this. I am still like very much a child. In terms of like, is this bad? Ruby, is this bad? Steve, don't do that. Oh, okay.
I think that's less about being a child and more you just didn't have that experience growing up, right? Because,
I mean, as I'm very sheltered, like
yeah, precisely.
So a lot of like things that I should know, I don't.
Yeah.
And I met his parents for the first time, and like, Ruby, you're not allowed to talk about when you rode 4-wheelers and did flips, or like when you rode your bike out of the back of the truck and stuff
I'm
like that.
sheltered for a reason. My mom being a nurse, like you guys telling all your war stories, she saw that and like a lot worse every day. So me and my brother were like, my brother for the longest time was like, I want a motorcycle so I can drive away. And my mom's like, no. The amount of times I see people with like chunks of skin or limbs missing, or like we take off their helmet and it's just like a bloody mess, like you're never gonna do that. So I'm like, oh well. Never mind.
I mean, look, man, I have an uncle who loved riding motorcycles. He's probably gone through 3 to 4 bad wrecks, and he's finally lost a leg, like the leg from the knee down.
He finally got rid of it.
Yeah, finally. Jesus, took long enough.
Well, no, like, so he's had severe injuries, but like this last one was just the worst. I am fairly certain he's quit riding motorcycles, but like no matter how bad the injury, he just never stopped riding.
It's gonna sound kind of mean. Don't you need both legs to ride a motorcycle?
Well, he has a prosthetic now.
Oh no, I think.
But
yeah, because Ruby, didn't we watch like that one like America's Got
AGT
Talent?
Extreme.
Yeah, the dude was riding a motorcycle with
paralyzed.
Yeah, paralyzed from the waist down.
Well, I mean, someone else had to put him on it, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, You technically
mean-
could, because all the like gas and pedals and stuff are on the handles.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so
Well, I
just
mean,
like balance and stability.
As
But-
far as like motorcycle accidents, it kind of depends on where you live.
Yeah.
Because my dad drove a motorcycle when I was a kid, and I used to ride with him all the time. Never tell anyone else this, but like sans helmet and any kind of
Bro,
protective
sans?
stuff. I just jumped on the back.
From
uh,
Undertale?
Sorry, what? What were you saying, Ruby? Something about Sans Undertale?
I was just gonna say we never had any issue.
Yeah, with Sans Undertale, the Megalovania is kind of hard though, Ruby.
Yo, it is. Playing that on Groove Coaster.
It just means
destroys me.
without.
You could have just said without. And instead, you mentioned Spooky Skeleton Man.
I did not mention spooky skeleton.
You
man,
did.
I
You said
just used a
Sans.
word.
You said Sans in a motorcycle helmet.
You're just jealous.
Of what?
Look.
You didn't get to ride motorcycles.
Oh, well, according to
one
my
time you
mom,
guys
they're
were
went similar to a
two-wheeled death
motorcycle,
traps.
you broke your wrist.
To be fair, I was so sheltered and like fine with being inside for most of my life that I didn't actually learn how to ride a bike until I was like almost 15.
Yeah. See, I think people can grow up pretty well in a sheltered life, but I think that being sheltered also takes away from a lot of the experiences you can gain from growing up.
The reason I learned a bike at that age is because all my friends were like, "Oh, we got new bikes. We're gonna go like
Yeah.
ride around the city." And my cousins, who I used to hang out with a lot too, are just like, "Oh yeah, we can like." Our house is not that far away. Like the river and the docks are like close by. We can just ride our bikes everywhere. And I'm like, cool. I can't do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be right back.
In the middle of a recording. I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, bye, Charles. All right, and we're back. Charles
Yeah.
had to
Well,
go.
welcome back to Saturday Night Live.
Well,
Wrong station. Wrong station. I think we're.
I was
hold
gonna say
on.
technically it is Saturday night, but not. Now it's 12:09 a.m. It's no
And we're
longer
not
Saturday night.
live.
I mean, we're live now. Not when we post this on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. We're not live. We're just Saturday night.
Well, you're
We're
Saturday night.
live.
Me and Ruby are now Sunday morning, technically.
Yeah.
Unless we're going off of like Animal Crossing rules, which I usually do anyway.
Yeah.
It's not the next day until like 6 a.m.
It's not the next day until I go to bed and wake up.
Yeah. I've been
Oh
meaning
God,
to-
I have to. Yeah, no, I was about to say, yeah, I've been looking at Animal Crossing on my Switch lately, and I've been wanting to pick it back up.
Like I was thinking about it today because, well, backstory. I've had poopy Wi-Fi for the past 2 weeks for no reason. I finally got it fixed today, which is why we're doing the podcast today. Hey.
Yeah, we were
They're
planning
not
on
seeing
doing
it
this
today,
like
they
a
don't know.
night or 2 days ago.
Yeah. But no, I finally got my Wi-Fi back, so I'm like, oh, cool, I can play all my online games. So I played like one game of Apex Legends, and I'm like, all right, I'm bored. and
Well,
the whole
Why
time,
didn't you hit me up? I would have played Apex with you.
because I tested Apex, I tested Dragon Ball Fighters, and then right after that, I'm like, I'm bored, and I just took a nap. I saw that you texted me probably about like 15 minutes after I passed out. Like if you
Yeah, I saw you online
if you
and I was
texted me a
like,
bit
"Oh,
earlier, I would have been like, oh yeah, sure, let's do something. But at
no,
that point in
saw
time, I
you
was like, I'm
online,
done.
And I wanted to hit you up because I wasn't sure what you were doing with your Saturday.
No, I woke up.
But you never replied to me, and then I saw your thing gradually go to yellow, and I was like, okay, he's not here.
Nah, yeah, I was gonna say I woke up, drove straight to Best Buy at like 1, or no, I guess it was closer to like 2 or 12. Got my Wi-Fi extender, came home, set it up, tested it. It works. I got way better internet now. And then I'm like, cool, I can play all these online games and like chat with my friends without being a likey mess.
Yeah.
And then I went straight
the
to bed.
Past few days have been rough with
Oh
your
yeah,
internet.
that's why I was like, I have to fix it like this weekend, and I did. Like,
Yeah.
To be fair, it probably could have been fixed the first time around if I wasn't so cheap.
I mean, I wouldn't call it cheap because, you would imagine that it would at least work a little better than what it was working.
It was working fine. It was just capped, which was the problem.
Yeah.
The fact that it capped at like
That's
25 to
fair.
30 megabytes per second was like, yeah, I can't work with that.
So, does your new one cap out at what your
It caps out at like
speeds are now?
150.
Okay, so
Which is
so
fun.
you're actually running pretty well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did a speed test today. It was like 150, 160, which I technically it doesn't cap at 150, but
Mhm.
that's where I'm pretty much sitting at right now, which is like 10 times better than what I was running before.
Dude, fuck. I can't wait to play Apex again with you. You're like the only friend I have that I can play Apex with and get wins.
Well, I mean now you talk to Coda.
That's true. We can get Coda as our third now,
Rude.
which
We tried
Ruby,
getting you.
we tried getting
You were first in line, Ruby.
and you refused.
It was me and
Lies
Charles
and slander.
playing Apex by ourselves for the longest time,
Yeah.
and then
We got you to download it once.
yeah, I said
Lies and
if
slander.
if you want to play big boy games with me and Charles, you gotta get this, and you did, and you played like 2-3 games with us, and then uninstalled it. To be fair, I know you're not an FPS person. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, if we're playing any FPS together, like Borderlands would be just for like dumb fun.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm really glad I got you into Muse Dash because you seem to have a lot of fun playing it.
Oh yeah, it's a really fun game. I speak for Ruby.
Clearly.
Sorry, you guys have been talking about friggin' injuries and stuff this whole time. I haven't said a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I was before I had to go for a minute. I was going to ask you if you've had any injuries in your sheltered life, but
I've had one, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really even that bad. So on my, I think it was 12th birthday or something like that.
yeah,
My parents got me an electric scooter for my birthday,
hmm
and I was like, cool. At this point in time, I still hadn't learned how to ride a bike, so
I'm waiting with the bated breath at the incident.
I don't know how to learn how to ride a bike by myself, so give me an electric scooter, that'll work.
Totally.
Don't understand that logic, but whatever. So right across the street from my house is like an old park, and like a big big yard, so to speak.
hmm
And along it is a brick path that like kind of circles around the whole place.
Yeah.
And day after my birthday, I got off school and I'm gonna ride around because I didn't really get to ride around much yesterday.
hmm
Driving, there was one brick in the pavement that was missing, and my wheel caught it. And instead of just
Fuck.
driving over the bump like any normal person would, my wheel got caught in the missing brick, and I went.
And launched you.
Yeah, I went flying over the handlebars. Thankfully, I was like Supermaning, so I caught
Yeah.
the rest of the brick road with my left wrist, and I kind of took a tumble, and I remember like scraping it off, like being really hurt, and like, ow, shit, that sucks. Getting up, like doing the whole like, one knee, two knee, and then using your hands to like push yourself up.
Yeah.
I was able to push myself up with my like entire right arm, so I was back on my feet. And then when I tried to like move my left hand, like nothing would happen.
Did you dislocate your shoulder? Is that what happened?
No, it turns out I sprained my wrist.
Oh.
So I was
okay.
still able to like move it, but like every time I moved any of my fingers or like anything on my left side of my hand, it like sucked. So I remember going home, and thankfully I was like close to home. I was like
Yeah.
less than 30 seconds away from my house. Just running inside. My brother was home because we got off school at the same time, and him and his friends were there. And I just ran in the door crying like, Dan, Dan, I broke my arm. And him and his friends are just like, oh my god, like shit, what happened? And they're just like playing fucking Need for Speed Underground on the GameCube. I remember exactly what they were playing.
Classic game.
Bro, that they had the what's that song? This is
I
important.
actually never played Need for Speed Underground,
This
so
is
I have
important
no
to the
clue.
story. What song is that?
It's important to the
To the
story.
window. You know that
To the
song?
wall.
Yes.
That
to
was
the
that
wall.
was the main theme of that game.
That's so funny.
Every time you were in the main menu, it would play that. The clean version, obviously, but I just remember that, like, me crying, holding my, like, limp wrist, and just hearing that song playing in the background. So, my brother was just like, yeah, I have no idea. We called our mom. Thankfully, she's a nurse.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, like, I'll come home. Because at first she didn't think it was that bad. Because my brother was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, he seems like really hurt, and it kind of hurts to move his hands. He was like, oh, it might just be like he scraped it real bad. So give him some ice. Tell him to like sit down. So I was calm enough. And then about an hour and a half or 2 hours after, because we got off school at 3, my mom got off work at like 4:30.
Right.
She came home still in her like scrubs, all like tired from work. She comes into the living room. I'm laying there with like my wrist with like 2 pillows under it. And I look at her. I'm like, Mom, I think I broke my arm. And she's just like, all right, let's go back to the hospital. Like turn right back around.
Oh God.
And the way
No.
the way she says it is like she walked out of the hospital. And like 20 minutes later, she walked back into the hospital with me. So all of her coworkers are like, "Did you forget something, or like, do you need anything?" Like, no, my son thinks he broke his wrist. Like, oh my god, like yeah, like, shit, okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look into that.
Yeah, thankfully because my mom did have the hookups. It like I only had to sit in the waiting room for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Did it leave a scar at least?
No, like no. That's what I'm saying. Like my injury was so minor in the grand scheme of things.
Man, Ruby shared one scar story, and now I feel like I have to share my scar story.
I do have scars, but like they're not really good stories.
So at the age of 4 or 5, I can't remember specifically, we had this dog that we named Mullet. And it was a half chow, half wolf. It was the closest to its ancestors as it could be. Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever seen dogs like that, but they have really fluffy manes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so this dog looked like a lion. Its mane was so big that you could grab onto it. And I did. And I would ride this dog around because I was small enough to do so. This dog was huge. Well, one day, while I was like, I want to go outside. I want to ride on Mullet. I want to be a cowboy for the day. Went outside, got on Mullet, and Mullet was not having it that day. Kind of turned me off and then walked away.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I am determined. So I jumped back on Mullet, grabbed his mane, and was like, yeah. Again, not having it. About the 3rd time I did this, this dog was so upset with me that he turned me onto the ground, put a paw on my chest, paw on the right side of my neck, and bit into my cheek and throat, and gripped. I have a scar on my left cheek now because I had to get stitches with how hard he bit in, thankfully not crushing my bones or anything like that in the process. Or let alone crushing my windpipe with how hard he was stomping on me.
He likely called himself doing the same thing they would with puppies, just like stap.
Yeah, well, he was never from what I hear, he was never really a friendly dog with other animals, and he really only put up with us. He was mostly calm, but he was up there in age. I think what it was he was just old, tired, worn. I didn't know any better. Yeah, pretty much. As a kid, I knew no better, and he told me to stop in the way that he knew how to because I wouldn't any other way. And I am alive today, thankfully.
Like I said, most of my scars are two out of the three are me just not being careful with knives.
Wait, hold on. How were you not careful with the knife? Were you ever taught not to cut towards yourself?
He cut himself on a bread knife.
It wasn't a bread knife.
It was a bread knife.
No.
It was. I remember.
Ruby, you weren't there.
You came crying to me. You came crying to me.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
about how to fix it, and you were like,
like
I was cutting the bread with the bread knife.
It was a kitchen knife, not like serrated. That's what I'm saying. Like bread knife, it has like the teeth. This one didn't. But no, the story that Ruby's referring to is my first. Well, technically my second scar, but it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
When you only have 2 scars, I wish, man.
Well, I have 3.
But still.
I also have 1 injury, Ruby. So you know. As I said before, I went outside maybe once a week. And that's why I'm so epic at video games, because I have no other life, and I'm losing control of my mind. Please help. Anyway, it was like 2 a.m., and I was hungry, and for whatever reason, I'm like, yo, there's just like a big thing of salami. It like the hard salami. It wasn't sliced or anything.
Right.
And I was still like half asleep, and like I'm just gonna cut up some salami and just like eat them. First slice went fine, had a nice piece of salami. Second slice, lost my grip and sliced my thumb open.
Oh, yeah, that's always good.
And it's like, for me, I'm trying to be polite, because it's like, it's 2 a.m. I'm not gonna like get my parents or aunt and uncle at the time to like wake up. I need help. I'm bleeding because I cut salami. So I was just like, oh god, oh shit, oh no. So I like applied pressure, put paper towels on it, washed it out, put pressure on it, paper towels on it again, and like it's still bleeding, it's still going. I don't know if like me slicing salami and then putting paper towel on it like infected it, so I'm like constantly running it under water and then putting pressure on it. And at one point I'm just like, okay, like I'm starting to feel woozy because I'm losing a little too much blood. And I'm like, who can help me right now? It's 2 a.m. I'm bleeding. I'm like, Ruby will
911.
No, it's like Ruby's awake.
Ruby never sleeps.
Yeah, so with one hand, with my free hand, I was like, hey Ruby, sorry to bother you. What do I do about like a gash?
First of all, once you rinsed it the first time, don't take off the pressure until it stops bleeding.
I didn't know that. I knew I had to.
You don't switch back and forth.
Yeah, I thought it was like, you know, you wash it, you hold it, and then you wash it again, you hold it.
No. You gotta do. It's a step-by-step process.
And this is where the sheltered life did not help you.
Yeah, remember when I said like I don't know anything?
Oh man! Well, I think the tragedy of that story is that you bled on the salami.
Yeah, I wanted.
He ate it anyway.
I was gonna say.
I'm sure he did.
The next morning, I told my uncle like, hey, you might want to just cut a piece of salami off and just throw it away. He's like, why? Like, I was telling him the story. I showed him like my cut, and he's like, "Yeah, all right." So he just cut off a big chunk of it, and he's like, "The rest of it's good though, right?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, I
There's
didn't
no
touch that
AIDS
part. He's
there.
like, "All right, cool."
Oh,
But
the AIDS salami.
yeah, but not so much of a scar. But Ruby probably also remembers. I got a small like paper cut while I was working at a factory job, working like at a brewery.
It turned black for a while.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I got it. So on top of like beer kegs, they have like the little paper discs to show like the flavor and like the dates and all that stuff.
Right.
I cut my finger on one of those paper discs while I was moving like dusty old like used kegs from like customers bringing them back to like the pile that we had in the back of the store, or I guess the back of the warehouse. So I was like, shit, like that hurt, and I see like a little trickle of blood. I'm like, I don't really have anywhere to like wash this right now or apply pressure. So first thing I do is I'm just like, I'll just suck on it, and, lick my wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So lick my wounds. It stopped bleeding. I like kind of rubbed it on my shirt to just like apply pressure and dry it off. I'm like, all right, it looks good, and went back to work. 2 days later, that small little paper cut started to turn black.
Yeah.
You put spit on it.
At that point,
and
I was
then
like, "Hey,
cover
Ruby,
it and then, like disinfect it."
Yeah, your mouth has one of the highest rate of germs on your body, just in general.
No, it's like
it's like the worst idea to put
like
something that's bleeding in your mouth.
Clean.
See, but it's funny because as a kid, whenever I got like scrapes or cuts, that's what I would do. Is I would like lick my wounds.
See, the thing is,
like nothing bad ever came out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I still.
But I mean, you
do
also
that.
had your parents that are like, "Oh, you have a cut," and you would like take a bath or something, or like wash your hands.
Yeah.
For Steven, in this point is he cut it, continued to work where he is lifting things that have been in multiple different places and may not have had a chance to wash his hands for a while, and it gave it more time for stuff to set in.
Faster, yeah.
Because anytime you get hurt at work, I don't care if it's the smallest cut, especially if you're in that type of job, you need to like stop what you're doing, go wash your hands, and put a bandage on it.
See, the thing
because
is,
you are way more likely to get an infection while you're at work.
And I did, just not in the moment.
Yeah, it was
like
it was moments later. It was an afterthought, but
exactly. Once I was done with my work, like 45 seconds, a minute and a half at most, I went back, washed my hands, did the whole fucking COVID. What was that stuff called? The guys.
Also, I
hand
don't
sanitizer.
think we can hand sanitizer. Okay, I was gonna say I don't think we can say the C word on YouTube.
I'll bleep it out. Oh my god, sorry.
Okay. C word. Cut.
No.
That kind of thing that happened for the past 2 years.
Most people say coof. The coof.
The virus.
Yeah.
But I was just like, please, guys, help me. What is that clear liquid called? Please.
Well, I mean, soap can sometimes be a clear liquid, so you're really iffy when it comes to clear liquids in bathrooms.
At least it's not white.
It was a terrible joke.
Charles laughed.
I give him props for it, but
it's a pity laugh.
Thank you. I'll use the studio audience applause right now. Here they are. There they go.
I could barely hear that.
Because it's in post, you idiot.
No one clapped. Crickets.
No.
I'm waiting for him to
I'll
say that, and then he just doesn't ever put applause there.
Yeah, just like, here it is, and dead silence.
Nothing.
Do like a confetti and the like little birthday sounds, and then just on the screen the word nothing.
It's nothing.
You just add the word applause to the screen.
Yeah. Subtitle applause.
And then everyone's confused, like, wait, where's the applause?
Exactly.
There it is.
Oh, man, we've been talking about scars for
I was gonna say
what feels like almost an hour now.
it has
Hmm.
been. I was about to ask if you guys wanted to say anything else before we probably wrap up this episode at least.
I don't really have any other stories,
Yeah,
for the most part.
the battle scar episode.
Yeah. I mean, let's be fair. This was the episode of people getting to know us, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about our past.
yeah.
Well, keeping in mind, I guess, technically, in the introduction, hi, I'm Ruby. I'm very clumsy. I have the most scars out of everyone here.
That I will agree to. I do not have as many
No.
scars,
I am.
if that many. I have a lot of accidents in my childhood.
I am the least.
I have I am the accident.
Wow.
That
That could go very wrong if you say it to the wrong people.
Oh man. What? How do we fix this in post?
That way, if it's what? Ruby being an accident.
Ruby being an accident.
There's no fixing it now.
I'll just quickly draw Ruby's loving parents. There we go. All better.
Listen, I know I was an oopsie.
Yeah. I think technically I was as well. But there's a lot more that goes into that.
Hmm.
Can we not have such a downer of an ending, please?
I mean, I'm not down. I'm having a laugh about it.
I was gonna say, like, I'm fine.
Yeah, our past is our past. We're here now, and that's what we're here to live for.
Yeah, all right. If that's how you want to end the podcast.
I mean, by all means, say something.
No, I'm good.
Are you good?
I'll let you guys talk about that.
No, we're not going to talk about it.
No.
There's nothing to talk about. I just
There
had
is
an
nothing to talk
accident.
about.
Yeah, it's you guys are fine. I if it's any consolation, I love you guys.
My parents watch this.
Aw.
Why would you say that?
Oh, I love you too, Stove.
Oh, gay.
Rude.
Don't hit me with the gay.
Gay. No. But I guess that's it. That's episode 1 podcast wrapped up and delivered.
Episode 1, Battle Scars.
Battle scars. Do we have an outro or are we just stopping?
Well, this has been the Southern Boys podcast. Minus one boy because we've traded them in for a female.
Rude.
That makes it sound like she had a sex change.
No, it makes it sound like I was your second choice.
That's what I was going for.
We couldn't get the other friend on, so I guess.
Yes.
I guess, Ruby, are you doing anything this weekend?
Fuck you.
But I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We've had a blast just talking. I hope you guys enjoyed us talking. And we hope you guys have a wonderful day, afternoon, or night.
Yeah.
It'll be less random next time, we promise.
We'll see.
No. Chaos is the key to life, alright? If there's no chaos, there's no order.
We'll at least have a little more planning. I'll at least promise that much.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You set rules to break them.
I was gonna say a little off the cuff, episode 1. Okay, bye. I guess.
Guys.
Bye.